All right. Well, welcome everyone. Again, my name is Christina Floyd. I'm a two-time IATM card holder and a double silver consultant with Team Powerhouse. And today we're going to be doing a walkthrough of Cruise Complete. Let me go ahead and share my screen. If you're not already registered with Cruise Complete, I'm going to show you where to do that. So Cruise Complete lives within Agent Universe. So here we are in Suppliers. I'm in the United States. If we scroll down, one of the first ones is Agent Universe. If you don't know Agent Universe, get to know Agent Universe. It is, I think maybe Amy Jo does another training on Agent Universe, but there's a lot of stuff within Agent Universe that's amazing. So definitely register with them. What I love about the Travel Cafe gives you kind of your intro, your commission rate, who your contact is, and how to register. So following all those directions in the registration under the Travel Cafe. They also do trainings and live events. So once you're registered, you'll start getting emails about that as well. They also have live in-person events. There's one at the end of March in Baltimore that I'm going to, which is kind of fun. So since I'm already registered, I'm just going to go here. For whatever reason, it always tells me that my email and password combination is wrong, but it's not. So if that happens, don't fret. I just sign in. When you sign in, this is kind of what your homepage will look like. And over here in quick links, you'll see a bunch of different ones. Today, we're going to be talking about Cruise Complete. Now, when you first register with Agent Universe, you may not have full access. And in which case, if you don't, you're going to just email Evo Supplier help at archertravel.com and just let them know, can you give me full access to Cruise Complete? And they'll be able to set that up for you. So once you're in Cruise Complete, this is kind of what your homepage looks like. If there's any news, any downtime, Viking is doing some updating. Anything you kind of need to offer, any sales that are going on right now, you'll see here as well. Any messages. So this is kind of your home base. I like to always start with the search because this is the best part of Cruise Complete. Let's say you have a client. I had a client a couple weeks ago said to me, I want to go on a cruise through the Panama Canal. Okay, that's all she said. And she wants to go in I think the summertime. Of course, I would do research about when the best time to go is, but let's say she wants to go in September. So I'm going to search from September 1 to October 1. And she's pretty flexible on timing. I'm going to increase this a little bit because I know sometimes Panama Canal cruises can vary. I'm going to go down to destinations, and here you can select pretty much anywhere in the world. You can do a cruise to nowhere, you can do Caribbean, Antarctica, Far East, Hong Kong, anywhere. So I'm going to specifically select Panama Canal. I want to see every single option that there is. So I'm not going to put in a cruise line or a ship. I'm not going to put in any embarkation points or points of call, just because all I'm searching for is time and destination. And search. And sometimes it's a little slow. But now what I've got is every cruise line that sails the Panama Canal during that time frame. You can show it in standard view, which is this, or you can look at it in grouped view, which looks like this. So kind of like dividing it by line. This gives you a nice kind of overview. So this is 16 nights from LA, Princess. Here's 17 nights also from LA, from Celebrity. Here's one from Panama, or from Vancouver on Holland America. Here is Carnival from Seattle. And so we can see that for that particular month, there's only 5. Now, when I did this a couple of weeks ago, there was a lot more. So I think that's that's a time issue. And these are all coming from the West Coast, right? So let's change our date range. See what else we get. Let's try the summertime and let's do June 1st to August 31st. Because I know there's more. Okay, so here we have 65. Oh, okay. So there is none in the summertime, but here are future sailings throughout the Panama Canal. So in November and December, we've got, this is standard view, and then we have grouped view. So here's 11 nights from Miami. It returns back to Miami. It goes to the Bahamas, Colombia, Panama Canal. It stops in Puerto Limon, Grand Cayman, and back. It also gives you a little preview of what the cost might be. And a lot of these are from Miami. So I'm just taking a peruse. Here's Oceania, 10 nights. So if they wanted a little bit shorter of a trip. Here's Princess. This one goes from Fort Lauderdale and then ends in LA. There's also another one that boat continues on. So it'll stop in San Francisco and it'll stop in Seattle and maybe even Vancouver. So you'll see that there are a few options that then just continue on, which is kind of cool. So let's take a look at this one just for fun. An inside cabin for 2,100, 5 nights, Fort Lauderdale, LA. You can either expand the details here. So you can, here's your itinerary, here's the stops. Talks about Princess cruises in general. Talks about the ship. When it was last refurbished, how big it is, kids programs, things like that. The different categories. So this is helpful when you start looking at different room options, and we'll look at what that looks like because it's a little overwhelming. But this is nice to know and take, jot down those category codes. There's the deck plan. So you can take a look at that and the destination. So it talks about kind of what it is. So if you say book now, let's dig a little deeper. Okay. So passenger selection, what I really like about Cruise Complete is you can, and we'll show this kind of a little bit later as we kind of go through it, but you don't have to have your passenger information right away to secure the booking, which is amazing. So you can actually reserve a cruise at that price and hold it for at least 3 days before deposits due. And this happened to me that I had a client who was thinking about a cruise. I found a good price, I put TBD in the passenger info, and was able to secure that price. A day or two later, they came back and said, well, maybe, yeah, I think we do want to do it. And I couldn't find that same fare and that same room and that same rate. But luckily, I had put a hold on it through Cruise Complete. But in the initial, you're going to say, okay, passenger type, you can do seniors or adults. Let's do 2 adults. And then you can also do children. The lead passenger always has to be an adult. And let's just say that they're coming from Orlando. If they've been a past passenger, you can select that as well, and that will help with some of the discount codes. Continue. All right, so now we get into rate code selection. And this is where it can get kind of overwhelming. What I like about this, though, is you can just select all. Non-past passenger without air, with air. When you're looking at Princess, This is also something, kind of detailed that you want to look at. So do you want to include Princess Plus, Standard, Princess Premier? Really those differences being prepaid gratuities, Wi-Fi on board, drink packages, things like that. You can select up to 20 rate codes to compare, which is also nice because then you can look at price differences. So I'm just going to select all of them and I'm going to keep going. And again, sometimes it's a little slow, but it's working. All right, so here's your matrix view of your booking category here on the left, and then across the top are all of those rate codes. Then you're going to see the cost. You'll also see if it's guaranteed or available. So guaranteed just meaning that the cruise line, you would select that level in that category and the cruise line will select your cabin for you based on where the chips lie. So I'm not a fan of interior, especially if you're going to cruise the Panama Canal. We need a balcony. So I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. Premium ocean view, balcony. So again, here are your codes up here at the top, which is nice. It kind of sticks with you. And then let's start looking at some prices. So as you can see, this first column is a lot less than some of these others. Why? Right? Because of the rate code. So this, for example, this is non-refundable. This has a deposit and it's KAS, which means that it's the standard. So this is the base cruise fare. All right. This one, this third column, this includes Princess Plus. So that's, again, your prepaid gratuities, your Wi-Fi, some extra perks, and that's usually worth it, right? It's an extra $1,000. It's usually, sometimes they're having a sale. Sometimes it's like $69 per day. So if on this, 11-night cruise, 69 times 11, you usually work out by prepaying for it and having it already a part of your rate code. So this is a balcony, guaranteed level, balcony obstructed view. And look, there's like obstructed view. It's actually $20 cheaper to do guaranteed. Here's a higher balcony. And then mini suite, but no balcony. And then again, when you looked at your room levels and you jotted down your booking category codes, that's where this also comes in handy. So a premium balcony, so here's a balcony at BC is 4,100 or so. Premium balcony, 44. Sometimes you can find pretty good deals. I was doing a Mediterranean cruise and a mini suite was only $50 more than a balcony. So why not, right? But this one actually looks, let's see. I kind of like this one, this guaranteed level. It's a balcony. And if you click here, it'll expand that for you. So you kind of, if you didn't jot down those codes, it'll expand it for you, but kind of keep your spot. And so you can make sure that that's really what you want there. Also, if you kind of hover over here, it does tell you about taxes and fees, port charges, all of that's all included. Sometimes, depending on the cruise line, the rate, the time of year of the cruise, there might also be special offers here. So if there's onboard credit or something like that, you'll see that here as well too in the different levels. So I kind of like this. I mean, that's pretty good. 3,800 guaranteed level includes Princess Plus. So let's take a look at that. It'll bring you down here. You can either quick quote it, which will give you a pop-up to where you can email it. So it gives you kind of that quick breakdown of what it is, what the payment schedule will be, what the stateroom is, the ship. And you can email this to yourself and then forward it to your client, or you can email it directly to your client. You can also generate a PDF. So if there's a few things you're looking at and you want to send them a few options, you can generate the PDF and send it all at once. So this is a nice little quick quote. But if you wanted to keep going, You would hit continue. And because this is guaranteed, I can't choose the suite. If I was picking something else, at this point, I would be able to choose the cabin that they want. But because it's guaranteed, I can't. So then it also offered, are you sure you don't want to upgrade or downgrade, and gives you the cost difference. You could downgrade, for a pretty significant for Ocean View. You can upgrade for only $500. Is that worth it for the suite? So it kind of prompts you throughout the process. But we're going to continue. So, please select and enter. Yes. So you have 25 minutes to get through this if you want to hold it. So again, it's notifying you this is a non-refundable rate. You can utilize TBD for your passengers if you don't have all of the information yet, which is again really, really nice. So you look down, you can even expand the taxes and the fees, payment schedule. And then what you can do, it allows you to autofill TBD traveler information. Because again, if you don't have their passports yet, you're not totally sure they're going to book it, you might want to just use TBD. So we're going to use TBD. Typically, the deposit is $200 per passenger. That won't be due until 3 days from the time you make it. So you can see here when the deposit is due. But you can hold this price until then. And then full balance will be due 90 days before the cruise. So here I've done TBD, and it just kind of fills in all the required places. And then as you scroll down, cabin preferences, so queen. Queen would be beds together, twins would be them apart. If you wanted insurance, cruise line options, so you can add different things, so that all that pre and post things, transfers, hotels, even pricing is per person. So that's something that you could do now, or that's something that you could just always add on later. Even here's some more transfers. Here's, are they sailing for an occasion? You could add different packages for them to celebrate on board, which is nice. And how much it would cost. Those are usually free, but if they're celebrating an anniversary, what's the anniversary date? So you can do like those special add-ons for your clients. Future cruise credit, things like that. We're going to keep going. Again, it's warning you about the non-refundable rate. Here again are all the details. Here's your amount. No payment is due because you have 3 days to pay the deposit. Here are your terms and conditions, so that's important to know for your clients. You need to put in a phone number. So I just put in my phone number and my email. So you don't have it actually reserved until you click book online. You have to also accept the terms and conditions, and once you do that, you'll be able to book it. The really important thing, if you do TBD and you hold it, and then you go back to your client and you kind of talk it through, they decide to do it, come back into the reservation and change the customer information before you make the deposit. Because if you don't, it gets sent off to the cruise line with TBD, and they don't like that. They don't like that. I've had to call Princess, and it's, they don't like that. So don't do that. You can go in, change all the customer information to your client's information, and then apply the deposit. So I'm not going to actually book this because I don't, this is just for demonstration purposes. But what I will do is show you what it looks like after you've booked it. So I go back here to my home page. If I scroll down, here is a sailing that I booked with TBD. So as you can see, TBD. This ended up because I never actually made the deposit. So it did get canceled, which is what I wanted it to do, right? But what you can also, under all of these different tabs, you can find a lot of different information. And if this doesn't necessarily show us what I want to show you, then I'll go to an actual booking. But if you go to overview, it logs all of the things that you've done. So I created it on January 3rd. It was booked. Reminders, you can add reminders for when payments are due, and they'll send you an email. So it automatically sets that up for you. I got an email saying that this is due, and then I knew they weren't going to do this, so I just came in and canceled it. But here under overview, we'll give you all of the activity. So once I show you an actual booking, I can show you where it applies payments and things like that. If you go to full profile, you'll see the passenger's information. And if this was a real booking, you would see their actual information. This was for a celebrity cruise, recent booking activity. So again, that's kind of the overview, email summary, any emails that's ever been sent for this reservation, PDF library, and alerts and updates. So because this doesn't really give us a whole lot, I'll show you an actual booking. So you can either click the customer name, or you can click view, or you can click work. It's a little confusing, and sometimes it's really bizarre in where you can access certain things. So it's just a matter of getting used to. But if you go down here, if you're back on your main page and you actually click work, that's when you can do things within the reservation. If you ever have a question or a problem, or you can't find something, just call. They're great. I called once because I could not find something. And the rep told me, oh yeah, they recently changed the labels. So here it's under this now. So they're always very willing to help. So again, here's when you go into work, now I can do things and change things within this reservation. So this is a 10-night cruise departing from Tokyo. And then I believe it ends in Seoul. So if you scroll down and you click expand, this is where you can do different things. So if you kind of scroll up just a touch here with this summary, you can see the bed configuration. This is a guaranteed booking, so the deck is to be assigned. It's 10 nights, departure dates, departure port, rate code. So ending in KZP. So we know that that's Princess Plus. And then here is you'll have your itinerary, your passenger information, and all of these different tabs are things that you can do. So you can view or modify it. You can check the cancellation policy fee. You can cancel. You can log an activity. You can generate a PDF. You can add or remove promotions. You can send confirmation emails again, Bon Voyage emails, add same cruise. So say the client was like, hey, my sister and her husband want to come with us now. I can just go here, click add same cruise, fill out the information for their travel partners, and then they have a duplicate booking that's already linked. It's beautiful. I can make a payment, I can show payment history, I can change the agent, add a note, add a reminder. So if this wasn't paid in full, I could add a reminder to remind me when final payment is due, or view the reminders that already exist, create cross-reference booking, or add or remove that cross-reference. So say, oh, I didn't realize our friend was going on this. Can you link our reservations? That's where you would do this. So you can do all of those things just as you would with our direct suppliers. You can create and do that in Cruise Complete as well. If you scroll down, you'll see kind of the pricing and the payment information. You'll also see the cancellation schedule. So balance due is May 28th. This cruise is taking off in August. Price per person total. And this is your agent commission up here. Let's see. How's this one been paid in full? So I'm going to scroll back up and I'm going to look for payment history. So this was only the deposit has been made on this. So, I didn't remember and I was able to look at my payment history. So only the deposit has been paid on this. If I go to view reminders, I don't have any reminders set. So let me do that right now. If final payment is due May 28th, I'm going to set that for like the week before. I want this reminder a week before. At 9 a.m., warn ahead of time, 0 minutes. Your title. Final payment due on Tokyo. Notify and save. So now I'm going to get an email a week before it's due. That way I can go back to my client and say, hey, if it takes me a few days to get in touch with them, or whatever the case may be, I always tend to make those final payments well before the due date, just in case anything goes wrong. All right. So that's how I use Cruise Complete. I love it for the searching ability and being able to see all of the different options. Then I can, especially like for Panama Canal, for example, I could go back to my client and say, here are the options. Here are the different lines. Here are the different lengths. Here, what do you prefer in terms of starting in Florida and ending in California? Do you want to start and end in Florida? And we can start to narrow down some of those choices by preference for clients. The thing that kind of trips you up is those details on the rate codes and how it differs per line. So another thing that I would do is it's great for, I can search everything. So now if I find one, now I'm going to go directly to that supplier. I'll get on Cruising Power or OneSource and I'll compare them. And typically from what I have found, it's exactly the same. But that's kind of where those rate codes come into play where, like, for example, Princess, KAS is standard, KAP is Princess Plus, and KAZ is Princess Premier. And I only know that from having dug into it a little bit, saying, well, why is this, why is there this cost difference? What does this code mean? And then when I'm in OneSource, it actually explains those codes a little bit better. So always comparing, always kind of, if it's the same price, but I can reserve the price in Cruise Complete with TBD, I'm going to do that and still make commission.